Our first speaker is Kyle Dutka, and he's the co-founder of pb+j. And his 3 fun facts are, he eats 3 to 4 apples a day. It's a problem. He even packs his own apples when he travels. He orders cortados to sound like he understands coffee, but he doesn't. And his twin daughters played a baby on The Handmaid's Tale when they were 8 months old. I'm a big fan of that show. That's super cool. Kyle, come on up and share your fuck up.
Thanks so much. All right. Ooh, okay. There we go. All right. Okay. All right. So we're here to talk about my daughters because they're way cooler than I am. I'm just kidding. Okay. So honored to be here, Marcia. Thanks for having me. I think like the third last event and the third last time I wore pants was a fuck-up night before COVID, and which those 2 things in a sentence if you don't get the context. Okay. Anyhow, it's just really good to be back. This is really cool. I don't know what you guys have been up for 2 years, but it's been fun. So let's talk about how to lose $200,000 in a day. And so this is myself and my co-founder Tom. He couldn't be here because he's in Blue Mountain doing cool stuff. Well, I'm going to tell you about how to lose money. He's relaxing and doing good stuff. He's a lot more successful than I am, but I got to tell you a cool story of when we decided to start a design agency, and this was about 10 years ago. And you can see our little studio because that was really the thing to do, get a space. Now, I don't know what a space is because our team's everywhere. And we're sitting at this bench here one day at lunch. And I don't know if you guys remember back about 10 years ago, there was this craze called a lip dub. Does anybody know what a lip dub is? Oh, dear God. Okay. Shit. Okay. So this is not very cool. Okay, a lip dub. It was like this thing that people would do, that like universities would do it in Frosh Week, and it was basically you get like hundreds of people together and they'd lip sync a video. The Office actually did like a bit of a parody on one of their episodes. And you you lip sync to it and you dance and it's really cool. And we sat down, we said, we don't know what we're doing, but we're going to do the world's largest one. It's going to be amazing. We're going to get like 10,000 people, and we live at this point, we live in Lindsay, Ontario. There's like 10,000 people that live in Lindsay, Ontario. So we decide that, and this is the crew that put it all together. This is like us, like 24-year-olds, like no one's getting paid more than, like no one's getting minimum wage at this point. And we're like, let's just do this on the side. So we're kind of designing websites in the day, and then we decide we're just going to do this thing. We're going to try and convince the city to do the world's largest lip dub. And at the time, when everybody knew what lip dubs was, because they were like, yeah, lip dub. Then it was like, that's so cool. You guys are great. Okay, so we're like really excited. We're going to pull this thing off. This is actually after we did it. So you can see how cool, and I'm actually really strained. I might be going to the bathroom. I'm not sure. Okay, and so we start this thing, and it's like picking up. Like we think we are really doing something cool. So like it's picking up. George Strombo starts. We finally got away to him, and he did a little pitch on his show. George Strombo. He was cool. I think he's still cool. I don't know. It was cool 10 years ago. Rick Mercer's doing it. We got like a thing in the Huffington Post. It was really like it was picking up steam. And we started to do this thing. And we have no business doing this, right? Like we're like a little, we design websites. That's what we do. But on the side, we're doing this lip dub thing, and we're convincing this community to come together. And we convinced a lot of people to do this. So there's like over 9,000 people showed up to this thing. I don't know how we did this. I remember being in like city council meetings in Lindsay, Ontario, and we're like debating where to put garbage cans and shut down streets and stuff. We had no idea what we were doing. But we pulled this off. This isn't the fuck up, actually. This went really well, right? So we are like riding high. We convinced like the schools in the area to send their students into our care on a street for 3 hours, and this is the pitch. You're going to stand there, and we're going to run a camera down the middle, and that's it. That's what we're going to do. How's it sound? Community event. And they're like, yeah, it's amazing. So you can go watch. You can go watch this. It's like a 10-minute video, and real lip dubs are like people like dance and coordinate it. So we had this thing all coordinated. like down to the minute, you know, like there was like bagpipes, there was like Olympians, there was breakdancers, there's a whole thing, right? And everything's segmented. What we didn't realize is when you get 9,300 people on a street and you run a camera down them, nothing goes as planned. So it kind of just turns into like 9,000 people doing like, hey. But it's kind of cool to watch, and this is really cool. So there's tons of people. Like this is like, we are like, this is the day of, right? So this is what's happening. And this is what we pictured. This is what we pictured what would happen, because we're dreamers. Midas touch. Here it goes. Tom and Kyle. Lipta, world's biggest. Rick Mercer, George Strumbo. Okay, so we do that, and this is it. But before this, so kind of back up about 6 weeks before this, we're kind of feeling the momentum. I got George's cell phone. I don't have George's cell phone. And we think the thing that you do when you're succeeding is you do more things, right? First rule of succeeding, do something bigger than what you're already doing, because this isn't enough. So we thought, well, if we're going to get 9,000 some odd people here, why don't we just have a big after party? We'll throw a concert, because we know how to throw a concert, and we're going to do it, and we're going to make a lot of money, and we're going to donate it to charity. Awesome. This is going to be great. People are just going to come to this concert. So this is what we're thinking. So this day is building up to that. And that's kind of happening in the background. So while this is all happening, there's like a full-on crew. Like I didn't know you could spend that much money on AV equipment. Like Metalworks is there. There's like bands coming in. It was like a big show. And this is happening. And I am like we are happily succeeding, right? This is really good. And this is the moment. This is peak Kyle on Lip Dub Day. Can you see me? I zoomed in. See what I did there? See? It's the same photo, but it zoomed in. Okay, this is peak Kyle. You can see me. I'm so excited. I'm like, one more time. And I distinctly remember this moment. And maybe this isn't cool to you, but I was like, this is what it feels like to win the Stanley Cup. I remember this moment, and I was thinking, like, and I thought, this is my moment. Like, this is never going to happen again. There's never going to be 9,000 people, you know, cheering me on. They weren't cheering me on, but I felt like it. I'm like, one more. I mean, I guess if you're like the Leafs, and maybe it's like they'd be the equivalent of like getting out of the first round. That's what it would feel like. I don't know. Okay, too soon. Okay, I planned that joke. I like wrote it down. I'm like, Leafs joke, Stanley Cup, first round. All right. Okay, tough crowd, guys. Leafs. Okay, go Oilers. Okay, never mind. Okay, all right, okay, so I'm at peak Kyle, and then we go, here's the party. Here is the party. We're going to do it, and we did it. And sidebar, Headley was the headliner. At the time, if you've been following the stories, it wasn't as fucked up as it is right now. And so that's a bit of its own sad, awful thing. But at the time, Headley was a big band, and they cost as much money as a big band, and we pulled this off. Like, it was really cool. This is after we've kind of gathered everybody, and it's like, yes, it's succeeding. And we actually, it sold a lot of tickets. Like, we sold like 1,300 tickets, and that felt really good. The problem with 1,300 tickets is we need to sell like 2,300 tickets. And so I remember it closing. The night was shutting all down, and it was an amazing show. It was like the best concert that ever happened in small town Lindsay, and it was really cool, and all this stuff. And this is Michel Chiquinine, if I'm remembering to pronounce his name correctly, and he was a child soldier, actually, growing up, and he came and shared his story, and this is what the night was supposed to be about, to raise money for charities that were helping, different folks and folks that were like kind of working with child soldiers, and it was like a really special time. And it was really great, and the night from like a content standpoint of like, let's do something awesome, was amazing. And as everybody is leaving, I remember, the night kind of slowing down and just staring at the stage, going like, how do we pay for this? Like, well, obviously we paid for it. Like, people didn't just show up for no reason, but we had borrowed money. This was the pitch, right? Dad, we're like a couple $100,000 short, but it's a concert. So we're going to make it back. We'll give it back to you like in 3 days. No problem. Can you just run a check up here? My mom, like legit, like I'm 24, right? My mom's like driving up to Lindsay with a check. Yeah, here's a couple $100,000. Trust you, believe in you. And I remember this was an amazing day. This is an amazing day. But fuck, how are we going to pay for this? And I remember after this, in an ironic twist, we decided, because it's a charity event, that we're going to help clean up the show. You know, we're not going to hire the crew to clean up the $78,000 speaker kit. So myself, my co-founder, and some of the volunteers at 3 a.m. are chucking speakers into the back of Metalworks vans and stuff to try and save $500. And I'm just exhausted, and we're down $200K, and I don't know how we're going to pay this thing back. We did. Took a few years. When you're 24 and you're making websites for $2, it doesn't happen that fast. But I learned these 3 lessons. And I think you're thinking, how did he learn these lessons if these speakers are here tonight? Okay, see, you get it? See what I did? I worked in, okay. All right, I learned these 3 lessons. I've reflected and put the speakers' names into, okay, I'm setting it up. Rachel and Aaron are going to be great. I will shut up very soon. Okay, there's these 3 lessons I took from it. Sometimes you make lemonade. Sometimes you also just have lemons left over. And there's this tension, right, that like I think we think if there's lemons left over, you're like, oh, well, I didn't do it. The fact that you have lemons doesn't mean you didn't make lemonade, right? The fact that I'm sitting there going like, how am I going to pay for this thing didn't change the fact that we just ran like the coolest community event that was on the news and everybody loved us and all this thing. And the lesson that I take still 10 years later is that tension does not go away. This tension between success and failure happens all the time, day to day. And so be okay with that. Be okay that sometimes you're going to make lemonade and sometimes you're just going to have lemons left over, and that's okay. Just be okay with it. Courage isn't a warm hush blanket. See what I did? Yeah, see? Yeah, there we go. Hashtag hush blankets. Use a discount code Kyle, and you pay 20% more. Okay. Courage isn't a warm hush blanket. I love courage. Like, you go to my Netflix and it's just like Brene Brown, Call to Courage, just on repeat. Like, that's just all it is, right? Like, love it. But I had this romanticized vision of courage, and I think sometimes we all do, right? That courage is going to be this nice, cozy thing, and I'm going to like do a Netflix special about it. Courage is absolutely uncomfortable. It's terrifying. It's scary. And I think sometimes we talk about it, and I talk about courage as if it's going to be a warm hush blanket. I'm just going to go to sleep. But the nature of courage is that it's actually quite uncomfortable. And I have a coach that would tell me, because sometimes I'd sit down and go, Sharon, it's not working. It feels tiring. I'm tired. She's like, well, that's what growth feels like. You went to the gym. Why do you feel like, it's like you go to the gym, Kyle, do you feel like you're going to just like cuddle up and like have your hush blanket and just go to sleep? It's like, no, you went to the gym, Kyle. This is what it feels like to grow. And courage isn't that blanket, so don't expect it to be. And be okay with that feeling. Be okay with that courage. Being, I don't know, what a prickly pin? I don't know. What's the opposite of a hush blanket? Wait for Aaron's talk. He'll tell you. Okay. The final thing, and I'm terrible at our own name, pb+j, so let's just say stick with it. That's the third thing. Yeah, see? Because peanut butter, see, it's sticky. And okay, all right. It's all right. We can be friends later. Okay, and I'll leave you with this. This is the stick with it. 10 years later, I still face $200,000 decisions where we could lose it every month. Ironically, and coincidentally, that's actually the number, that's our cash burn right now at our agency every month. It's $200K. So every month we stare down that same decision we did 10 years ago. And we said, how are we going to do this? What's going on? And I still face that question. And I still am terrified. I'm still scared. I don't always know how to do it. But sometimes I rack up the courage. And sometimes I don't. 2 weeks ago is a Wednesday morning. I remember this distinctly. And I was talking to my partner, Britt, not my business partner, my life partner, and I just frustrated, things aren't working, and I just started to cry. I just sat down on the couch and just cried. I'm just like, it's not, what if I fuck it up for our family? What if these kids that are in The Handmaid's Tale and they're so famous and they're so cool, what if they don't love me? Just kidding. They don't even know. They just got like free donuts that day and they were so happy. And we obviously kept the money to pay for the concert. And this wasn't the same day, but she wrote me this, and I'll leave you with this. this is my believe sign. Who's a Ted Lasso fan? Everybody else, there's the door. Okay, I'm just kidding. But seriously, if you don't like, if you haven't watched it, great show. Ted Lasso, he's got this believe sign up above, right? And he's like, believe, and it's like so great. He does it better. Okay, there you go. Do it with me, believe. Okay, all right, 3 people. Okay, she left. She didn't know this was happening. I was having a really tough day. She left this for me one day. And she just wrote this, like, super Ted Lasso style. I don't know how she got this, like, crayon on paper. And she, like, pins it to, like, our railing. She says, you got this. We love you. We support you. We believe in you. Keep believing in the hard work it took to get here. And the stick with it lesson that I learned was believe is not about mindless optimism. And so whether it's a you got this or you're a Ted Lasso believe person or whatever, is absolutely not about mindless optimism. It's about the choice to live in possibility, the choice to live in abundance, the choice to look at that $200,000 decision and go, am I going to be defined by the last time I lost $200,000? Or am I going to take that and learn from it? And sometimes Tom and I joke, the $200,000 is about the cost of an MBA. So believe is sometimes a choice to just choose, that was $200,000 lost, or maybe, or just maybe, that was my MBA. Believe. There we go.
Awesome, Kyle. That was so great. Thank you so much for sharing
Thank you.
your story. I don't know if this mic is working.
You're here. Do this one. There you go.
Okay. So yeah, we're gonna jump over to some Q&A now. So if you have some questions for Kyle, we'd love to hear them. Please keep the question itself short so that we can try to get through as many as possible. And we have Kobe who's gonna be running the mic too.
Thank you. Yeah. How, 2 hours later, right? It's eating you up? You have to look it up online later. No, just kidding. It was Unbreakable by Headley. It was one, and it was so long that we do 2. Unbreakable, and then there was Seasons, Change of Seasons, and it was by, I forget the band, but they were actually at the end of the lip dub. Tyler Kite was the lead singer, and they were in it. Change of Seasons, yeah. LindsayLipdub.ca. Hi, Rachel.
Hey.
Big fan.
So what's pb+j? What do you do? And how do you spend $200,000 every month?
We run monthly, really unprofitable concerts. Yeah, unrelated concerts. Yeah, so what we do now, pb+j, we grew from that little shop that did websites. We focus on direct-to-consumer e-commerce brands. We help them make really amazing e-commerce stores, and then we help them optimize it. So we do a lot of like CRO work and performance marketing. And our mission is to make brand believers for brands worth believing in and have fun doing it too. Thank you for asking. Here's $20. Yeah, Aaron. The outcome of losing the money? That's a good question. Jeez, man. All right, see you later. Aaron's up next.
He walks away.
Would I do it again? I probably would. Yeah, I probably would. Doing it again, though, I know a lot more about running concerts, and how to not lose that much money. So maybe we'd lose $199,000. Yeah.
When you're thinking about that $200,000, is it every time you make a decision, like some version of that $200,000 decision, is it, oh my God, we might lose $200,000, or are you like, I believe I can lose $200,000?
It's an interesting relationship. I think there's always an element of that. Like it's like you feel that pain of it, and you know the journey of having to sit down with people and say, I can't pay you back today like I said I would. And there's like that's tight on the ethics. But I think there's also it's the stick with it. The other part of that story with when I'm sitting with my partner, I'm sitting on the couch and I'm literally crying. Are we gonna make it? She said, you're gonna make it. You always find a way. Like you find a way. And there's that ability to say, like 10 years later, it's still tough. We still don't get it all right. I have like 10 more hours of fuck up stories, but like we will find a way. And I think there's that grit that comes with it. So yeah, thank you for asking that.
I think that's a great
It's
place
good.
to end off on the Q&A.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you
you for
so
having
much,
me.
Kyle. That
Thank
was
you.
great.